Rhif and the Legend of the Soldier's Armor. The bright sun and beautiful weather were a stark contrast to the dour mood of the giant tent that served as a temporary barracks. The War of the South was supposed to have been over in a month. It was supposed to be a parade through the lands of the savages that raided the good people of the Flame. That was 13 moons ago. Now, happy marching feet dragged instead of skipping. Bring in another one. Through the clang of the metalsmith's hammer, the commander motioned forth another soldier. The young man, no more than 20 summers, shuffled toward him. His expression as beaten as the once fine sheet of armor that covered him from head to toe. With great effort, he raised a hand to his chest and another to salute the commander, then collapsed his arms from fatigue. "Look at him, Rhif." The commander circled the young man and ran his finger over the soldier's armor. "He looks as if Pierce fumed to the heavens and dropped him. And he hit every eagle, branch, and building on the way down." Rhif took his turn inspecting the beaten and bruised soldier. Rhif looked into the blackened and purple bruised eyes of the young man. "You've just returned from the front?" The soldier nodded, then coughed. A trickle of blood came from his mouth. "Go on. Go see your dawn servant, son." The commander turned to the soldier and pointed him in the direction of the medical help. Once it was apparent the battered young man was heading in the right direction, he turned back to Rhif. "He'll be all right. We've got the Flame's very best dawn servants here. They could regrow that boy's head if he knocked it off." Rhif nodded, but was in no mood for jokes. "Let's see some more," he said. They walked closer to the returning soldiers. They were forced to a near shout to be heard over the groans of injured men. The fighting was a disaster. The tent was filled with hundreds of injured men. More troublesome, hundreds more lay dead on foreign southern lands, their bodies rotting and not cremated, and therefore unable to ascend to the heavens. Rhif couldn't dwell on such things. He was a man of numbers. They called him the master of numbers. "The Flame's metalsmith says we can reinforce the armor with Durham." The commander held a chunk of metal aloft. Misshapen and solid black, it was a marvel to behold. "However, Durham is heavy and rare. Even if we had enough to make all the armor for Durham, it'd be too heavy to be used effectively." One by one, Rhif and the commander inspected the returning soldiers. Almost everyone looked as rough as the first soldier they spoke to. Using a crude sketch on paper, Rhif noted the places where the armor had taken the most damage. By the time they finished, the noon sun was nearly setting. Rhif showed his notepad to the commander and spoke. "The armor has most commonly sustained damage in the limbs. Nearly every soldier has returned with heavy damage to their arms, and nearly as common had dents and scrapes in their legs. Less commonly, but still common enough, were dents in their helmets. The least damaged area is the chest, with only a minority of soldiers having dents and scrapes in their chest plates." "Metalsmith!" the commander called. The metalsmith ran to the commander. He was short and stout, like a trunk of a tree, and likely as hard as strong as one as well. "Use what Durham you can spare to reinforce the limb armor. Focus on the arms and the legs as necessary. If there's anything to spare, reinforce the sides of the helmet." The metalsmith nodded, then turned on foot and began to run away. "Wait," called Rhif. Unlike the commander, Rhif may not have had an official title, but people listened when he spoke. A respect earned from a lifetime of accomplishment and wisdom. The Flame himself had requested that Rhif inspect the situation here. Requested, not commanded. The Flame had never had to request anything. The metalsmith and commander listened with ears and eyes open in equal measure. The Durham doesn't go where the damage is. Rhif tapped a misshapen arm piece. It goes where the damage isn't. Rhif tapped a pristine chest piece. The commander and metalsmith were confused. So Rhif continued. All the returned soldiers had damaged limbs, but no damage to their chests. Rhif tapped the limbs and chest piece again. Where's the missing damage to their chests? The commander and metalsmith remained confused. So Rhif continued. The large number of soldiers returning with dents in their arms and legs is evidence the armor is strong enough there. At least strong enough to see them returned here, in one shape or another. The commander and metalsmith were more confused than ever. So Rhif continued. The missing damage to the chest is on the armor of the missing men. If you scour the battlefield, I have no doubt you will see countless sets of destroyed chest pieces. Rhif rubbed a pristine chest piece. The soldiers that are getting hit in the chest aren't coming back. Thank you, Rhif. The commander's eyes lit up. Master Metalsmith, reinforce the chest armor with all the Durham you can spare. The Flame soldiers would eventually win the War of the South, stopping the raids and civilizing these lands. Many theories and reasons are given for their victory, but one of the most important and unknown was Rhif's contribution to the Flames' new armor.